Good evening, Eswatini, and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobego Nzapkelwago. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. A chartered flight is scheduled to repatriate Eswatini from Jomo Kenyatta Airport on the 16th of August 2020. The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade and businesswomen Eswatini have launched the Vugani Bomage project. 172 healthcare workers have been infected with COVID-19 to date. The news. Bantabenkosi of Lozita and Lobamba, Mhlope relatives of Gelegeceni Ezulwini, members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Tikeni and Langamandla in-laws, relatives and friends are notified of Prince Chekedi's demise. Prince Chekedi was King Sopuza II and Inkosikati Funani's son. He will be laid to rest on Sunday, the 9th of August 2020. A memorial service will be held at Jesus Calls Worship Center on Saturday, the 8th of August 2020. Relatives and friends are notified that there will be no night vigil due to the COVID-19 pandemic that the country is currently facing. Close relatives will be allowed to arrive on Saturday night at 11 p.m. Kandlela Gahoye. The announcement is made by Indvuna Senvo Fagutse in Lutsitsini Royal Residence. Those who wish to send messages of comfort can use the following website, www.forevermissed.com, and search for Prince Chekedi. His memorial service will be streamed on YouTube on Prince Chekedi Dlamini Memorial Service. Let's continue with the news. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with Kenya Airways, have arranged a chartered flight that will depart from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi to King Mswati III International Airport on Sunday, the 16th of August 2020. The flight will be repatriating Eswatini, who was stranded abroad.
As part of the mandate of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to look after the interest of Eswatini abroad, as well as in line with His Majesty's pronouncement in the declaration of a national emergency in response to the coronavirus of 17 March 2020, that government is to ensure that all Eswatini students and citizens in the diaspora are protected and safe from the pandemic. Arrangements have been put in place to repatriate Eswatini stranded abroad as a result of the strict lockdown condition on air travel imposed by the Republic of South Africa and the Republic of Mozambique in response to the COVID-19 global pandemic, making transit via commercial means to the kingdom currently impossible. In this regard, a charter flight has been arranged by the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini in collaboration with Kenya Airways from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi to King Mswati III International Airport on Sunday, the 16th of August 2020. On Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, departing at 3 and arriving at King Mswati International Airport at 7 in the evening the same day. Eswatini nationals and permanent residents who have registered their interest and desire to return home must make their own private arrangements, logistical and financial, to get to Nairobi from their destinations of origin and are expected to arrive at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by the 15th or 16th of August, and no later than 4 hours before the flight is scheduled to depart. In addition, given the expensive number of high-risk COVID-19 countries that many of the passengers who registered for this flight will be coming from, and despite having the 72-hour pre-flight COVID-free certificates, all passengers disembarking at King Mswati III International Airport will be quarantined in a government-allocated facility for 14 days, or given permission to self-isolate in accordance with guidelines prevailing under the National Emergency Response and pre-approved by the Ministry of Health. Passengers will be processed on arrival and taken by transport provided by the Ministry to the designated quarantine site. Reporting, I'm Temalange Nidlamini, Babane.
Following government's endeavor to establish textile firms across 59 constituencies in the kingdom, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, alongside businesswomen Eswatini, has started a business project for recycling textile material coined Vugani Bomage project.
Khumalo says they have launched the project in 3 constituencies, Lobamba, Nhlambeni and Manzini South. The Sigwe constituency in the Shiselweni region is the latest constituency to adopt the project, and they will also visit the other 55 constituencies in the kingdom to launch the project. Khumalo says this project is in line with the ministry's mandate, which is to provide an enabling environment and support for the development and growth of businesses and industry for the attainment of economic development.
So what will be happening is that they will be trained by the professionals to the standards that are required, and then orders will be placed. I'm very happy to say that in the 3 projects that we have started so far, orders are well over 100,000 Malangeni have already been processed. That means then, the women cooperatives that are starting under the Vugani Bomage banner are starting to make money, and this is a concept and a project that we want to roll over, right through the country in the next 12 months, and we believe this program will employ well over 800 people in total over the next 12 months, and we are really excited about that.
Chairperson of Businesswomen Eswatini, Toki House, says this project is needed now more than ever as the COVID-19 pandemic has left many Emaswati jobless.
We started this dream when we were attacked when the COVID-19 started happening in the country and the whole world, and the vision came that we needed to assist and help women, that because we work with women. And then the village cottage factories ideas started coming in. We went around and started gathering women from 3 different inkundlas. That's where we started. We started teaching them, promoting and telling them how to do the businesses. And the 3 inkundlas that we've started with, they are now operational. They are now working. So this is number 4. This is the inkundla number 4 that we are here as well to come and try and plant that seed.
Kwabonakala ke ukuthi lo msebenzi awuphume uyele etinkundleni. Saphakamisa sandla ke thina sengibase Sigwe ukuthi
of Parliament for the Sigwe constituency, David Ngampalala, who is also the Minister for Tinkhundla, says it brings him great joy that this project involves the construction of community halls. His constituency already has constructed some. Ngampalala also praised His Majesty King Mswati III for the Regional Development Fund, which funds the construction of the halls. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Nxumalo with Smuva Shongwe, Sigwe.
The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, says the project to protect wetlands will cost around 100,000 emalangeni. The minister was speaking when visiting Belebeleni community to inspect how the project is going.
The Eswatini Environment Fund was established by the Environment Management Act 5 of 2002. The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, says the whole process of conserving wetlands and donga rehabilitation is estimated to cost 100,000 emalangeni. Vilagati also says that the rehabilitation of dongas has helped a great deal since 2 lives have been lost recently due to the donga. On another note, the development has led to the return of long-lost bird species to the surroundings.
We are very, very grateful because if we conserve the wetlands, we are assured that the grass species that we usually need, that we only get in such areas, will be maintained and will be sustained.
The chairperson of the Mbelebeleni community who oversees the development project, Sabelo Ngwenya, says environmental conservation strengthens the well-being of our kingdom, since this development also protects the damage of the ozone layer, which is caused by the different changes in weather.
Honorable Moses Vilagati, to see the work done here, we were fencing a wetland and a donga rehabilitation, whereby we got a fund of 100,000 emalangeni.
Also, the development is aimed at improving the environment and conservation of biodiversity, especially that which we still lack as a country. Reporting for Eswatini TV News is Bongosi Makakula, Mbelebeleni.
We will now take a look at the COVID-19 update from the Ministry of Health. The Kingdom of Eswatini has recorded 2 COVID-19 related deaths in the last 24 hours, which brings the total number of COVID-19 related fatalities to 55. These are a 78-year-old woman from the Manzini region and a 30-year-old woman. The ministry has also announced that 59 people tested positive for COVID-19 today, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases to 2,968. There are 1,378 active cases. 1,476 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the country, while the kingdom has recorded 55 COVID-19 related deaths so far. Looking at the numbers by region, the Manzini region has recorded 1,341 cases. The whole region has recorded 1,201 cases. The Shiselweni region has recorded 213 cases, and the Lubombo region has also recorded 213 cases. Let's continue with the news. The Director of Health Services, Dr. Vusi Makakula, says 172 healthcare workers have been infected with COVID-19 to date. Makakula said this when explaining the measures government is putting in place to protect healthcare workers from the pandemic.
On Wednesday, the Minister of Health announced that the country had 2,909 cases of COVID-19. The Director of Health Services, Dr. Vusi Makakula, says 6% of the total cases reported were healthcare workers.
And there are about 172. We have developed guidelines in accordance to international standards of how we are supposed to be providing the service in a most risk-free, as much as risk-free as possible to the nation. This includes what you were talking about, PPE, provision of PPE at the right level, of PPE, and all workers are supposed, all frontliners even, are supposed to be protected in the same way.
Makakula says they are decentralizing health packages amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
We come together to think of improving innovative ways of ensuring that there's no breakage in the taking of the medication. So we felt together with our partners that we need to take the services now as much as possible to the people where they are. That is, we first talk to the person must agree, must consent to that, because we don't want a situation where confidential information now gets up being known by each and everyone without the patient's consent. So we agreed with them.
On Wednesday, the Minister of Health reported that 53 people had lost their lives due to COVID-19 in the country. 2 of these were healthcare workers. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Langamandla with Musim Konda in Babane.
Eswatini Epilepsy Organization's director, Mbuso Munimahlalela, says the shortage of medication for epileptic people in government health facilities is a cause for concern, especially at a time when the country is faced with COVID-19 as a pandemic which has crippled many people financially. Mahlalela says some people cannot afford the epilepsy medication. We will continue with the next story. Some business people still continue to illegally cut down indigenous trees despite being asked not to do so. Sihle Makakula, the assistant herbarium curator in the Ministry of Tourism, says there's a law they can use to arrest offenders.
Last year, the Forestry Department under the Ministry of Tourism started an educational program and campaign of educating small and medium businesses, especially those who use firewood on a daily basis around Matsapa, on which trees to avoid cutting, especially indigenous trees which have vanished. It is almost a year later since the program was launched. According to Sihle Makakula, the assistant herbarium curator, some businesses have complied while some still fail to comply.
Akakhuthalele phela ukuthi basebenzise isihlahla lesingisi bangasebenzisi lesi semdzaba ngoba sona seyinkinga sikhula kwasinikhula ikhansela ukuthi siyaphuta lokukhula.
Makakula says community leaders have been cooperative in this program.
Umthetho uyasivumela indlondlo ukuthi
He says, therefore, there is a law that they can use to arrest offenders who fail to abide by the law. Pine trees, gum trees can be cut because they do not take long to grow. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Sontom Langeni, Luyengo.
Numbers of private candidates who will sit for the external exams dropped this year when compared to the previous year. The Register of the Exams Council, Dr. Edmund Mazibugo, says COVID-19 partly contributed to that.
The number of private candidates who will sit for their Form 5 exams dropped this year compared to the previous year. The COVID-19 partly contributed to that. This was disclosed by the Registrar of the Exams Council, Dr. Edmund Mazibugo, in an interview.
We have about 3,150 candidates who registered as private candidates. Last year, the number was 4,500 candidates who registered. Well, the COVID-19 had some effect on the registration of candidates. However, we did announce at the beginning of the registration process that private candidates can also continue to register, and we asked them to ignore the part of the registration that required them to get permission from heads of schools where they intended to sit their examinations. We say they should leave that part to us. They should just indicate their nearest school of preference where they wanted to sit for the exam. But since the schools opened, they've tried to go to the schools to get permission, those who had not registered. So I think permission to sit for the exams in schools is not an issue that might have prevented some of these candidates from registering for the exam. The 3,150, probably those are the candidates that want to sit for the exam this year. So we're happy with the figure, and I don't think they've been disadvantaged.
Mazibugo invites those who may have scarcity of getting schools where they can write, they can come to them for assistance. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Sontom Langeni, Ezulwini.
Hosea Member of Parliament Mduduzi Mabuza has been granted 5,000 emalangeni bail by Magistrate Simo Simelane. Mabuza was arrested and charged with 8 counts related to contravening with the income tax order, the prevention of corruption, and obstructing justice.
Hosea Member of Parliament Mduduzi Mabuza was arrested by the police after a warrant of arrest was issued. Mabuza appeared before Magistrate Simo Simelane in the Babane Magistrate Court on Thursday. Mabuza has been slapped with 8 counts related to contravening income tax order, the prevention of corruption, and the obstruction of justice. Mabuza is alleged to have advised Siboniso Simelane not to allow officers from Eswatini Revenue Authority and the police into the latter's premises belonging to Sifiso Mabuza, thus preventing them from executing their duties. The accused is alleged to have resisted arrest by the Royal Eswatini Police despite the fact that they possessed a warrant of his arrest. Mabuza is alleged to have assaulted a police officer with an opened fist with the intent of causing grievous bodily harm to a police officer. Mabuza is alleged to have threatened to shoot police officers with his pistol. In court, Mabuza was represented by Advocate Mduduzi Mabila. The state was represented by Prosecutor Ayanda Mathenjwa. Mabuza's attorney applied for bail. He further emphasized that the court should not look at Mabuza's status in the society, but instead focus on the charges laid against his client. The state did not oppose the bail application. The court granted Mabuza 5,000 emalangeni bail under strict conditions. Mabuza was advised not to conduct or interfere with state witnesses. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni with Giane Msibi in Babane.
Junior Achievement Eswatini says 129 Emaswati applied for the World Entrepreneurship Awards by the closing date, which was on the 2nd of August which was on the 2nd of August. Spesihle Mkhonda, the communication specialist, said the response from entrepreneurs was impressive.
On the 26th of this month, Junior Achievement will announce the local entrepreneur from the top 5 selected entries who will represent the country in the virtual World Cup Entrepreneurship Awards in Saudi Arabia. This was said by the company's communications specialist, Spesihle Mkhonda.
We've had 129 participants applying, which means 129 entrepreneurs from the Kingdom of Eswatini, and we are looking at taking them for screening for eligibility and adherence. We'll see are they adhering to the standards that have been set by the Entrepreneurship World Cup. The participants will be given a chance to actually give us a rundown of their business plan, why they believe their business plan are winning business plans. As you know, that there are categories of this competition where there's an idea stage, where there's the business stage, and where there's the growth of the business. So all these sections of the business are going to be looked into. We are hoping that once we've announced the winners, they will be able to take part in the Entrepreneurship World Cup that will be held sometime in September. And Eswatini will be represented by one of these participants that have applied. And we're very, very happy. The response was very, very good. If you look at 129 business people in Eswatini, then it means quite a number of them got the information and they responded the right way.
On another note, the company has appointed Phethile Bennett as the in-school programs manager.
I will work very hard to come up with strategies to meet all the required activities and deadlines, and also give impact to the beneficiaries that we are working with.
This program by Junior Achievement is in line with government's strategic roadmap of 2019-2023, which supports empowering the youth with entrepreneurship skills. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Ngamandla with Mozi Mkhonda in Babane.
The Eswatini National Youth Cooperatives Alliance has started a campaign of planting trees in the country. The Vice President, Lungelo Mdluli, says the initiative seeks to encourage young people to participate in the fight against climate change, which is in line with the 2020 theme, Cooperatives for Climate Action.
The Eswatini National Youth Cooperatives Alliance has started a Go Green campaign to help in the fight against climate change, where they will be planting indigenous trees in parts of the country, as they today planted 10 indigenous trees at the Eswatini Cooperatives Development College. The Vice President Lungelo Mdluli says this will help in improving the country's environment, and that they will also continue to other areas in the country.
This is just the launch. That's why I've given 4 months to also look at the fact that there's climate change. There's COVID, so there are many challenges for logistics. So it gives us the next 4 months to go to each region. We will be targeting public places, but also our affiliates, which are also other youth cooperatives, and also any other youth organizations.
The Commissioner of Cooperatives, Nonhlanhla Dlamini, says this is a great initiative and urged other people in the country, more especially the youth, to take part in such programs. The Go Green campaign is in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 13, which urges to take action to combat climate change. Reporting, I'm Temalang Dlamini with Mozi Mkhonda, Ezulwini.
Let's take a look at our sports news. Mbabane Highlanders director Ali Khomongwe says he is currently working on buying the status of Mbombela United, which is currently playing its trade in the Glad African Championship in South Africa. Ali says should his plans succeed, Highlanders players will get an opportunity to play in the Glad African Championship.
Local football players might have an open door soon to begin their international career at Mbombela United in the Republic of South Africa, especially when it comes to Mbabane Highlanders players. This is after Mbabane Highlanders director Ali Khomongwe mentioned that as he continues his chase to buy Mbombela United that plays in the National First Division Glad Africa Championship, he will be giving some of the current Highlander players a chance to go play for Mbombela United.
come that side, to bring Mbombela to change the name to be Alice Tigers that side. So we are busy with it.
Yes.
In Highlanders player, like the players that I was using them for the last season, they were up to standard. Those players, remember, I found them in the team, but they play the football that I want. Because I used to advise to say that let's do this as a director. When the coach is there, I would like to be involved to help him in there because I've got the football experience. Yes. The players in Highlanders, even if you can interview them, they believe in me. They trust me. I've got very touching calls from them and say that, Chairman, we hear that you are leaving. If you are leaving, please, we must live with you. But I said to them, no, I'm not leaving, because remember, these people are children, are kids. You don't overcrowd their mind with unnecessarily rumors.
Homongo says Highlanders' current players have the right standard of football that he likes and can play internationally. On another note, Homongo says he's still on his mission to bring back Highlanders to its glory days and take part of the CAF competitions again.
Remember, Buffaloes beat us 1-0. Let me talk about the champion. I just joined Highlanders on March, but Buffaloes, they never beat me a long score like they beat others who were in the field before. Buffaloes, they beat 1-0, and then we draw with them. You see, so it shows you that you test with the champion and you test that the quality of players that you have that can match that championship. But now what I'm going to do, I prefer that the Highlanders must have friendlies with South African big teams so that they can gel to the kind of football that I want.
For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msondera, Mbabane.
And now let's take a quick recap of the headlines. A chartered flight is scheduled to repatriate Eswatini from Jomo Kenyatta Airport on the 16th of August 2020. The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade and businesswomen Eswatini have launched the Vugani Bomage project. 172 healthcare workers have been infected with COVID-19 to date. Eswatini, that is all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.